The Michelin name is synonymous with quality around the world, yet many who appreciate the performance of numerous Michelin products are unaware that the company's first tire product was a bicycle tire in 1891, when the Michelin brothers patented the first detachable bicycle bead tire. To this day, Michelin continues to innovate and produce world-class products for road bicycles, mountain bikes, and specifically designed products for e-mountain bikes, like the Michelin E-Wild tire. It's the tire of choice for my team, the Impact Results EMTB team that's competing in the 2021 EMTB GNCC National Championship. This partnership will enable the team and its riders to showcase the performance, versatility, and durability of the Michelin E-Wild tires during our efforts to defend and pursue even more championships. Also for 2021, Michelin is introducing many exciting new products like the Michelin Force AM2 tire and the Michelin Wild AM2 tire designed for a variety of mountain bike terrains, as well as, this one I'm excited about, the Michelin Pilot SX and the Michelin Pilot SX Slick tire specifically for world-class level BMX racers like Connor Fields, even Darkside, or myself. Follow at Michelin Bicycle on Instagram or learn more about their extensive range of bicycle products by checking out their website or obviously engaging with them on social. Again, it's at Michelin Bicycle on Instagram. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. I want to talk about our friends at Just Live CBD. Support for RacerX and this podcast is brought to you by Just Live CBD. They're a trusted source for high-quality wellness CBD products created by athletes just for you. Fun fact, Travis Pastrana, ever heard of him? He may or may not know a few things about being injured, recovery, dealing with nagging pains, nagging injuries. Well, Travis is actually one of the founders of Just Live CBD, so that's pretty neat. Travis and everybody at Just Live CBD want to hook you guys up. You can get 30% off your entire order with code RACERX at checkout. Visit justlive.com. That's JUSTLIVE, justlive.com, and use code RACERX so you get 30% off your entire order.
Welcome to the Moto Marketing Podcast, presented by RacerX, the podcast for moto industry professionals, entrepreneurs, and riders. If you want to grow your brand and business in today's digital-first world, you have to know how to turn a stranger into a fan, turn a like into a customer. You have to know how to turn attention into dollars. This podcast is dedicated to keeping you in the know on real marketing tactics that work in the moto world so that you grow your business and help grow the sport. Get ready to learn from the very same marketing experts trusted by RacerX, Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, GNCC, and NBC Sports. They'll help you navigate the world of digital marketing for your moto brand. This is the Moto Marketing Podcast. Presented by RacerX.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Moto Marketing Podcast. Hey, we're back in the studio today. A couple of the episodes, we had a pretty significant snowstorm, and I came to you from the comforts of my own house. So we're back in the Impact Media studio, and we have Aaron Paisar with us today from Polaris, and somebody that I've wanted to bring on for a little while now, just because I think it's a unique brand and obviously his story of getting involved with that company and what he does on a day-to-day, I find interesting, and I think you guys would as well. Aaron, welcome to the show, man. I'm looking forward to diving in with you and kind of walking through your journey and what it is that you do at Polaris.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Luke.
So let's just start there. I mean, we'll go kind of cover your background, but for those that might not be familiar with you, some of your customers might actually be listening to this show. What is it that you do at Polaris? What's your day-to-day job, title, all of that?
Yeah, so right now I've had a few different positions within Polaris, but currently today, right now, I am my title is product line sales specialist. So I help support our field sales team and our dealer network, go to market with various sales programs, and really anything to do with supporting our field sales team to put them in a good position to be successful within the off-road vehicle space. So I don't have anything to do with our boats division within Polaris, nothing on-road, strictly off-road.
Yeah. So why Polaris? Like that's a cool brand to get in. I mean, were you an off-road or moto enthusiast? Like how did we end up to where we are today?
Yeah. So really out of college, my first job, I worked for a company, Cummins Diesel, relocated, went around the country with that particular company, relocated to Minneapolis, we're one of their business units. And growing up in rural Wisconsin, I was constantly on snowmobiles, ATVs, side-by-sides, and that passion for power sports kind of led me to investigate Polaris. They're headquartered in Minneapolis. And luckily I was able to, in 2016, have a chance to be one of our very first inside sales representatives supporting the East Coast in 2016. That quickly turned into an actual field sales position. So I had responsibility for 23 of our Polaris, independently owned Polaris dealers out on the East Coast. So supporting that dealer group from a field sales representative standpoint, and then got married actually last fall and wanted to get back to the Midwest to get closer to family. And luckily Polaris was able to find me a position with inside our corporate headquarters in this product line sales position. That's kind of my career journey. Polaris was always, when you grow up in the Midwest, either Minnesota or Wisconsin, everybody in that area for the most part bleeds blue. Polaris, it's a very well-known company, and which is why it was attractive for me to pursue that career.
Yeah, no doubt. So out of college, you worked for Cummins Diesel, and then you went to Polaris. So you've never known like a boring job. You've always worked for pretty cool brands for somebody that's into power sports or motors or anything like that. You've pretty much lived it since you graduated, huh?
Yeah, whether it's gasoline or diesel, I've seen a little bit of everything.
That's cool.
Combustible engines, I guess, is kind of my forte.
So obviously Polaris is a big brand, and you had said before we jumped on some of the things that you're not responsible for, and some of the things that you do focus on. So what is your main day-to-day objective or responsibility? Like, where are you really getting your hands dirty and doing your thing?
Yeah, so I would say there's kind of two main parts of my job, if I would classify it. There's obviously, you could segment it. If we had all day, I could tell you every little nuance of the job. But I'm one of the major responsibilities that I have is really gathering from our field sales feedback. What's going on in the marketplace today? What are the pain points that some of our dealers are experiencing from a sales standpoint, from an inventory standpoint, and taking in all that feedback and trying to make our order processes better. If we have an opportunity to leverage some new promo ideas, that we bring that to the team and investigate the feasibility of doing so. And then secondly, I would say I also help support our engineering product management team. I'm kind of that dotted line to those groups to make sure from a go-to-market strategy, when we do come out with new sales programs or new products, that those get launched to our field sales teams and our dealers effectively and have success from day one. So those are very broad stroke terms to explain kind of what I do, but from there I can kind of get in the weeds with you if you like.
Yeah. So what I want to do, we'll go to a commercial break here in a little bit, and after that, I want to talk about kind of the adjustments that have had to be made with your day-to-day responsibilities since COVID has hit. But I'm curious to kind of get a gauge of then and now. What did your job responsibilities look like, and some of the dealer needs and the front line of the sales look like, call it 2019, before we got into how things changed with COVID and really the off-road power sports space just exploded. What were some of the main components that, we know each other because of Tri-County, Honda, Semi, and Bright, those guys. somebody like him, how would you interact with a dealer like that, or RG Motorsports in Bridgeport, West Virginia?
Yeah. I think going back to 2018, 2019, I think from a player standpoint, we really equipped our field sales team to be more equipped on just wholesaling. So whether it's parts, garments, accessories, or whole good products, getting our dealers engaged from a wholesale standpoint. And what we're realizing in this competitive environment is dealers have more, choices. There's more brands. There's a lot of stiff competition out there, more than there ever has been. And our kind of sales strategy is more focused away from necessarily full wholesale. That's still a significant, important part of the team I support and our field sales as a whole, but really focusing on the 5 profit centers of each individual dealership, because that's where the rubber hits the road. That's where the dealers that are providing the right customer experience are growing and operating profitably, not just moving metal. So at a very high level, that's kind of been the focus going back to 2018. We've kind of changed that mindset away from a wholesale approach to more of a consultative selling, making sure every dealer is taking advantage of those profit centers. And then to speak on the COVID, I mean, it's just 2020 is just absolutely a whirlwind. I'm sure you've had people on that have discussed this in great lengths, but I think everybody was just holding their breath early last spring when this COVID really took off. And I think everybody was like, well, now who's going to make the big investment in these, very expensive side-by-sides? Like, is discretionary income just going to be gone? What we found is, people quickly realized that, if I can't go to Disney World, if I can't take these expensive vacations, if I can't go to a ball game, I'm not going to just stay in my house. I'm going to find a way to enjoy the outdoors. And actually, this was unintentional, but Polaris really kind of shifted their branding to this Polaris think outside mentality. You may have seen that on a lot of our advertising. And I think that couldn't have happened at a perfect time, because if you really think of what COVID has done from a recreation standpoint, it's forced our general public to think of ways to experience the outdoors. And Polaris products are a great way to experience that. And that's why you saw such a huge boom really towards the second half of the second quarter, and really through the entire second half of 2020, just off the charts record retail across really all OEMs and in the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
So
I've always been kind of curious, a bigger brand like Polaris. I know, with mid to small size brands, when COVID hit, the fear of the unknown and the fear of people are going to not spend money was there. But then I think, small to large, everybody realized, like, wow, whether it's cycling or motorcycling or power sports in general, that was the hot industries for the past year, and we'll be looking at a year and a half before we blink. What was your all's kind of internal thoughts and feelings once March 13th, 2020 hit, and the world seemingly looked like it was going to fall apart? Did you guys kind of know, like, hey, we might have a real opportunity to capitalize? Was it kind of, hey, let's wait and see what happens? Like, or was it, this is an awesome opportunity? What were those conversations like, maybe internally or with your dealers? Were dealers coming to you freaking out and panicking? What did that really look like early on?
Yeah, I think I can remember some of our leadership making some comments about, they don't have a pandemic playbook in business school to teach you how to manage that. That always kind of hit home with me. So, there wasn't, I would say we had to react in the ways that protected our dealers and our employees. So, we were forced to shut down some manufacturing for a few weeks in certain scenarios. We had dealers in certain states like Pennsylvania and Michigan in particular, even California, that had some extremely strict guidelines deeming them not essential, and were really forced to shut down. So that was kind of a scary part. There was probably a month to 2 months where we had a pretty significant part of our dealer group that was just had to close their doors, or made the decision for their own family and employees to close their doors, which I'm not going to say we hit the panic button, but it was it was definitely a challenge to manage that and, put your best foot forward, if you will.
Yeah.
As things started to open up, I think people quickly realized that, if I open my doors, I'm offering a product that's in high demand right now.
Yeah.
People can't do much except experience the outdoors, and a side-by-side or an ATV is a great way to do that. So it wasn't too long, and we saw that happen in the retail numbers.
Yeah, no doubt. We got Aaron Paisar from Polaris with us today. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll kind of wrap things up, but take a deeper dive into how this industry can capitalize on the uptick in participation and getting outside and getting on 2 and 4 wheels that we've all seen. So we'll talk to Aaron when we come back. Fly Racing's 2021 line has been improved and expanded, offering the industry's widest range of moto and off-road products. Led by the revolutionary Formula helmet featuring Rheon technology, Fly Racing has taken big steps forward with the all-new Light Pant and Zone Pro goggle. It's going to debut this year at the Monster Energy Supercross by Justin Brayton and the Muck-Off Honda team. The Zone Pro goggle delivers premium performance from a brand you know and trust, fearless pursuit, Fly Racing. It's personally the gear that I wear. I've worn it moto, BMX, mountain bike. I've worn it and repped it for years. In my opinion, it's the best. Be sure to check out their goggle, their helmet, and all their gear. Fly Racing. Hey, big shout out to our friends at FMF. Little D and the guys are always doing some pretty exciting things, not just with the performance products, but man, they've got the coolest apparel in the game, and I want to give you guys an opportunity to get that at a little bit of a discount. If you go to FMF and pick up any gear you'd like, hats, shirts, whatever it is, upon checkout, if you enter the code MMP30, MMP30, you can get 30% off. So MMP30 at checkout and get 30% off your order on FMF apparel. All right, guys, welcome back. We have Aaron Paisar from Polaris with us and just kind of talking about his interesting career. I mean, I don't think that you've never had a boring job going from Cummins to Polaris. Like, that's a lot of the people that listen to this show would love to have a trajectory like that. Trying to get into this space isn't necessarily easily done. So, we're in, we're staring February of 2021 in the face, and COVID numbers seem to be going down. Hopefully that trend continues. We just shifted into, new presidential leadership, and all that kind of stuff has happened at the time of recording this. Cycling, moto, off-road power sports has just gone gangbusters in the last year, which, our clients that sell product online have had record numbers. We have relationships and consultant work with a lot of dealerships, and they've had record numbers. But the challenge has been something that, I think is kind of good and bad. Like, everybody would always love to sell everything that they have, but then you run into the issue of, I can't get enough in. What does that look like for Polaris, to where, you've got these dealers that probably can't get it in quick enough? Is that a massive issue? Is it a good, how do you guys look at that? Good, bad? Where do you guys stand on it?
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, it's on one hand, we've got an extremely dry channel of inventory. Our dealers remain at some of the lowest levels of inventory that we've ever seen as a company. And on the other hand, you continue to have some record-setting retail continue in Q4, and really into January has been a phenomenal month. That there's no signs of foot traffic or lead submission or retail slowing down anytime soon. I hope that continues here, but this isn't going away. The reality is our dealers are operating in a less than perfect inventory environment, and we as an OEM are constantly trying to think of ways to, make lemonade out of lemons, if you will.
Yeah. Where does that problem stem from? Is the inventory problem because everybody is buying, or is it because everybody's production line at some point got shut down, or is it a combination of both? I've always kind of been curious of where it really stems from.
Yeah. I mean, we just had our Q4 financial call yesterday, and our interim CEO kind of talked in length about kind of the supply chain challenges. And there's one thing, you have the manufacturing issue. COVID has just provided some issues on the manufacturing space, just getting consistent help and line changes to keep the supply chain running. And then the actual components piece is another challenge. So every OEM is dealing with, thousands of suppliers and getting every part to the plant at the right time to build product and ramp up like we're trying to do is a huge undertaking and a huge challenge. And, we've made some really great strides. Our team in the supply chain from a Polaris standpoint, I think, has done a really, really good job. In fact, in Q4, Polaris actually gained market share in Q4 for the first time in, I think, several years for a full quarter. And I think that just speaks testaments to the team working together to backfill that inventory as quickly as possible to see those results for our dealers to continue to sell our product.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would speak to that's, if you're a dealer listening, I think you got to really think about change your strategy of advertising and selling what you have and pivot towards what am I getting or what can I get? We've put a lot of emphasis in Polaris on pre-solds. So not necessarily selling what you have on the ground today, but giving dealers the ability to signal to us that they have a customer that's willing to put a deposit down on a product and letting them order that way to get some priority. And we've had some dealers really take that to heart and advertise that and drive the correct actions to not necessarily settle for what might be on the ground, but you also have the ability to kind of take a deposit. We might be able to get that Pro XP RZR Ultimate that you really want.
Yeah.
If you're willing to put down that deposit, we can get that to you in a relatively, short period of time. I say relatively.
What does the landscape look like moving forward, and how are you encouraging, dealers to maybe adapt from the standpoint of, digital has always been something that was there and was growing, but it kind of got put into this forced all in, everybody participates from young to old because you couldn't really go out. So there's a lot more people buying online, interacting online, doing as much of a process as they can online before maybe if they have to transact in store. A good friend of mine that I've gotten to know over the years, I don't know have you ever heard of Sam Dantzler from Garage Composites by chance?
Yeah, we partner with them.
Okay. That's awesome.
They train for our sales team and dealers. Yeah.
So I've spoke at a lot of Sam's and Tony's 20 clubs, and those guys are awesome as far as really trying to help guys and gals that have been in business for a long time and have done business the way they've always done it, helping open their eyes to, look, if you don't change, it's a recipe for disaster. Is there anything that you guys have kind of really helped push local dealers to adapt and change to more of a digital world where obviously things will go back to normal as far as we're able to engage and interact in person again, but I do think it's going to look different than it always has because my dad's 73. He hasn't been in a grocery store in 8-9 months. I don't think that's going to change. I think he's going to always order his stuff online, so I think there's going to be some of that's left over. What do you guys at Polaris do to work and kind of maybe help try and progress your dealers if there's anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, early on, I mean, it's technically still a program we have today. One of the programs that we launched is a kind of a click, deliver, ride campaign. So giving our dealers the ability to sell products remotely and complete that registration process at the customer's home if they so choose, given they follow the correct requirements to do so, which is not necessarily something you'd even consider, even a year and a half ago. It would sound crazy to even consider doing something like that. From a digital advertising standpoint, we have such a diverse group of dealers across the country that, we've got 20% of our dealers probably that have, and I'm speaking generally, that have really figured out digital many years ago. But we still have an opportunity. There still is, I think, a lack of understanding of how to just create awareness. A perfect example is, for me growing up in rural Wisconsin, I didn't even realize that I had a Polaris dealership in the hometown that I grew up in because they really only emphasized the traditional media for awareness. So you got to be doing the basics just to make sure that your local customers even know you're there, so that if they are interested in one of your products, they know where to find you, they know where you exist. And it's been a challenge. I mean, also on advertising, dealers don't have a lot of inventory, and the inventory they do have is usually spoken for by the time it even ships to their dealership. So again, that pivot from, changing that investment to advertising what I might have to what I could have or what I am getting has been one of the main focus areas, I think, here in the back half of 2020 and into 2021.
That's probably one of the biggest challenges we've had, is helping educate prospects and current clients that, it's, why would we advertise when we can't even sell or we can't even fulfill orders currently? And it's helping them understand, again, this isn't forever. Like this will change, and if you become irrelevant because you only fulfill the orders that you have and you're not trying to acquire new ones, so what's that narrative? What's that message? And I like what you're saying as far as promoting what you can get and what you'll have in the future. I love the click deliver ride program. That's something that years ago I was like, why don't car dealerships do this? Like, I hate the experience of buying a car. And then I realized there's legality around. You have to sign the paperwork on premise and all this stuff. So it's cool that you're able to do that in more of the power sports space, because I am very much an impulse buyer. When I can afford something, if I want it, I want it right then and there. And there's some people that are very scared to go into a brick and mortar, but would be a customer. So the fact that you guys have an option for that, I think is cool. Is that a program that you guys look to push, or does it not work as well as it sounds like it might? Like, where does that sit?
Yeah, I think it's a complicated. There's different state legality issues on what regions and areas could do that. But there was a while that if you go to our Polaris website, that would be the first thing you really saw is, if you're interested in one of our products, you were hit with this click, deliver, ride kind of campaign as planting the seed that we don't necessarily need to put you in harm's way to experience one of our products. Yeah. And here's how you do it. You can submit a lead through our website that goes to your local dealer. They contact you, work the deal. And, if they're able to, and legally they can fulfill it, they can come right to your door and finalize the deal. So to be honest, I think we've kind of backed off on it a little bit, but I think there's been pockets of dealers who have said, I don't necessarily need to do this from a Polaris standpoint. I'm going to use this with all of my brands. If I'm able to, kind of gain a competitive advantage and just make sure customers know that option is available to them. Yeah.
I mean, I think it says a lot for the brand, even if it doesn't get used as much as maybe Polaris would like at the dealer level. I think the fact that you guys had that in the works before COVID, it's pretty unique. I didn't even know that was an option, just because in the car space, you can't even consider doing it from what I know. So, man, it's awesome. You guys have, it's a cool brand. I mean, some of the trade shows that we go to when those exist, with the AIM Expo and whatnot, I mean, Polaris always has an awesome setup, and everybody that I've talked to from there has always been very friendly and down to earth. And your dealers locally where we're at are always, super accommodating and friendly with us. So I've been wanting to have you on for a while, and just to kind of tell your story. It's definitely a different and unique brand than we normally would have on. And just to kind of hear how you guys have dealt with the pandemic it's super intriguing. So man, I appreciate you coming on, and hopefully we can have you on again one of these days to kind of talk about what it looks like now. And yeah, we'd appreciate you coming back on sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Luke. Anytime. It's who knows what 6 months the landscape and the market's going to look like. But if it's anything like 2020, we're going to be in for another crazy 2021. So
That's right.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. It's good talking to you.
Thank you for listening to the Moto Marketing Podcast. If your goal is to get real, measurable results from your marketing that will grow your company revenue, then check out how Impact Media can get the same results that they have for Moto's most iconic brands by visiting thinkimpact.com. That's THINKIMPAKT.com. Have a marketing question that you want answered on the show? Send your questions to questions@motomarketingpodcast.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. And we'll catch you on the next episode of the Moto Marketing Podcast.